Hi, I'm JoJo, and this is my podcast, and it's called Title Name Colin Cool Podcast. And today I'm gonna talk about my third most animated favorite show that I like so far, called Rick and Morty. I don't get it. Maybe I'm not their targeted audience. I mean, look at me. That show was targeted to 36-year-old millennials who have 2 kids and a wife who reminisce about being able to watch Star Wars movies when they came out, or live in a time where you had to print out cheat codes for video games or whatever. But I like being analytical. I like watching a show and trying to take everything as it was, or not doing that. I like taking these stupid little characters and giving them headcanons to live off of instead of the actual canon. But here, that's all I ever do with this show. Besides its horrible, glaring flaws, audible cough, I like most of these guys. I like Rick and Bird Person and a whole other bunch of kooky characters that I totally forgot to write about. So I do my best to understand the world that they live in and the logic that it has, but how can I do that so much when the logic is constantly changing depending on the scenario? The show takes itself seriously, but only when it wants to, and only when it sort of has to. Like when it isn't lore dumping or referencing, it's not an episodic show. But it really wants to be. I mean, yeah, they'll recap stuff on occasion, but they want you to remember things and go, wow, that's awesome. I know the build up to this, and it's significant. Like, there's an episode where Rick, the main character, he's like being interrogated by this alien guy in his subconscious mind space. And assuming that you've watched everything already that leads up to that, you'll know that Rick is the kind of person who messes with people, to not really care about people who don't seem to, mean anything, whether that be like if he thinks that they have potential, or just if he kind of, if they're appealing to him. He hates schools and he hates the government. And here, this alien guy is trying to pry open his mind for secrets of the formula, create portal fluid. Because, by the way, Rick is the smartest man in the universe, but only in some multiverses where he exists, and he created interdimensional travel and stuff. He's pretty secluded when it comes to his past and his actual feelings. So, you have this guy, like I mentioned. If you have him, then why would he allow actual information about himself to be revealed, right? They play it off as a joke. They play it off the ending that he gives, like his backstory, as a joke. But then at the end of season 7, it's like shown that one-off backstory was canonical, even though he said it wasn't. Like, yeah, it's fine. Like, yeah, you might be going, oh, JoJo, why are you elaborating on what's clearly a joke and foreshadowing? The truth is, I don't know. But I'm so sure that this is like a bigger example of the show being kind of confusing for me to follow, for me to understand. There are entire episodes that aren't canon, and then there could be a 7-second bit in one of those, and then it's like, why bother rewarding the viewers if the setup is confusing, or if it's too ambitious for what it wants to achieve, right? I know I don't have to take this seriously, but I like doing it, and it's fun for me. Anyways, I've dealt with the most episodic shows like ever, like BoJack and Arrested Development, arguably. But I've dealt with a show like Rick and Morty in a way. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, aka ATHF, which came out in December 2000, and it has like 12 seasons and 2 movies and some web series spin-offs, one of which I refuse to complete. Cough, cough. And it's very nonsensical. It follows Master Shake, Meatwad, and Frylock, and the Self Crimes, and the wonderful world of New Jersey for the first few seasons, and then soon enough you have a character who starts a nuclear war because he just wants a show to be recreated. I love this show, and in a way, it's kind of like Rick and Morty, episodic when it wants to be nonsensical every other moment. But there's still a form of what I like to call non-continuous continuity. Which is it still means that stuff happens and that they don't affect the characters, but it makes sense. It has a little bit of logic that the world establishes, and nearly anything can happen, but it still follows a set of rules in a sort of way, Like the build-up makes sense, things get established. In Rick and Morty, it's really hard for me to see that. I want to like the show a lot more. It has so much missed potential. Rick as a character, in a way, is missed potential, but he more of, realizes he is, kind of, and simultaneously can't and won't change for the better. Or at least, the main version of Rick we know, not someone from NAU. If only the writing style just didn't change so frequently. Maybe that's it. Or if certain plots were expanded upon or left alone entirely. If only I could elaborate more, because I'm at 4 minutes and 34 seconds right now, and this has to be 5 minutes. I have to cut this short. But, point being, Rick and Morty can be whatever they want. But they could be more than that, too. And I hope Season 8 is an improvement of what I've seen. Because I know nothing can compare to the monstrosity that is Season 4 of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Thank you for your time. That was my podcast. title name Colin Cool Podcast. Thanks. Yeah. Bye.